So, trade proposal for you. You take 6 damage from my Tramply, Hasty, Lightning Skelemental, and you discard 2 cards. And then I reanimate it and do it again. And then I bring it back and make it so it can't be sacrificed the next time because I end the turn. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher, aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today we are absolutely getting lost in the sauce with Lightning Skelemental. This is a card that is near and dear to my heart. I think it is a lot of fun. It offers a big damage boost. It offers, a pseudo Hymn to Turok effect, discarding 2 cards, pretty sweet. And you don't tend to play fair when you are playing Lightning Skelemental. You tend to want to bring it back, reuse it, recycle it in some way, and that is what this deck was designed to do. So I was asked to tune this deck around 3 cards. The first being Lightning Skelemental, the second being Sundial of the Infinite, so that you can end the turn to keep this from being sacrificed, and the last being Final Fortune, which is a 2-mana extra turn effect, but you lose the game at the end of that next turn. I mean, unless you don't lose the game because you end your turn and keep that secondary trigger from ever going on the stack. The numbers in this deck are very weird. I want to get that out of the way to start with. I goldfished a handful of games trying to tweak things to make this reasonable. The mana in this deck is very, very awkward, because you are trying to do red, red, black, red, 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 and a lot of your best starts actually involve you powering out a Goyf or a Fable of the Mirrorbreaker immediately, or like sticking a Sundial of the Infinite so that you can then like play these and end the turn so you don't sacrifice them, meaning that you want a couple of Ancient Tombs in there as well. So the mana is admittedly pretty darn awkward. It's not as bad as it looks from, goldfishing 10 to 20 games with various configurations of this deck. It looks really bad on paper. It plays out pretty okay in practice. The deck started out with 4 copies of Thunderkin Awakener as a way to bring back the elementals from the graveyard, and I went down on those over time. I was realizing that Thunderkin Awakener is not a turn 2 play, despite the fact that it's a 2-drop. It's like a turn 4 play after you've already played an elemental and attacked with it. So I cut down to 2 of those and just threw some Reanimates in there. The deck, as it was originally submitted, had a pretty respectable amount of removal split across different types to cover niche scenarios that you might need to answer different things. And so I figured Reanimate largely is going to do the same thing for these ball lightning effects, but gives me the flexibility to reanimate my opponent's large creatures as well. Slightly awkwardly, Fury is an elemental, but is a 3/3, so that doesn't actually end up working with Thunderkin Awakener, and I think it's getting too lost in the sauce to try to grow this to make it so that you can bring back Furies as well. Broadside is something that I considered for this deck as well. Attacking with the ball lightnings and then throwing them afterwards sounds really great in theory, but I think as X1 creatures, there's just too many times where these end up dying in combat to want to actually throw them with Broadside as well. And we'll ultimately see how consistent this ends up being. This is one of those decks where I think I will be happy with a 2-3 finish. Like, we are definitely memeing today rather than optimizing for power. But hopefully we do a few cute things with Sundial and Final Fortune. And Final Fortune, when you have like a 5/6 Goyf or whatever, can just be perfectly respectable on its own. Or a Final Fortune turn with Fable of the Mirrorbreaker where you copy a Lightning Skelemental and attack for 12 damage or so. There are some things to like here. One unfortunate thing that potentially can happen, though, is that these are X1 creatures, meaning Orcish Bowmasters can ruin our fun in a rather devastating way. And it will have the side effect of also making our looting with Fable worse, which is going to be relevant because we have some situationally good cards that maybe aren't always going to be good. And so I even considered Ursa, is it Lightcaster? I always mess up. Light Shatter. Tursa Light Shatter in this deck as well as another Fable-esque effect. But Tursa was a little awkward here. So if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, exile a random card from your graveyard. You may play this card this turn, but this happens when you attack. So if you randomly exile one of your Skelementals, you are going to play that post-combat and sacrifice it at end of turn, and then that's only going to work if you have the Sundial. And it felt like that was kind of a too many steps situation. The numbers here certainly need to be tweaked a little bit, but after goldfishing a bunch of games, I think this is at the point where I need to get into play versus an actual opponent and see how these are going to play out. So we're going to have some fun today. Folks, if you need any Magic cards, please consider checking out my sponsor, TOAMagic.com. They're great. Promo code ThrabenU saves you 5% on your order. You always get free shipping. And if you're headed to MagicCon Vegas or MagicCon Atlanta or anything like that, they'll be there. You can order your cards in advance, pick them up on site, and it's super convenient. That being said, let's battle. One quick thing before I get going, because I think this was off screen during the deck tech. I do have 2 Null Rods in the sideboard, even though it's a slight combo with Sundial. And thank you very much to Alex for supporting this league and enabling my nonsense here. I'm going to keep this opening hand. I think it is a pretty good 6-card hand that I will just go ahead and fix with Fable of the Mirror Breaker, looting away that second Chrome Mox. We've got an island and passing the turn here. I think I am going to opt for mana efficiency, even if my opponent just brainstorms in response here, because I think it's so important to throw down this Fable on curve. Yeah, it just worked. That's great. That was unexpected. All right, let's crash in for 2. And I don't think I am playing around Daze. That Bowmaster was a perfectly fine Daze target there. And so I think I'm just going to slam Fable with the intention of looting away both of these pieces of artifact mana. Let's make that a little bigger. All right, all my stuff just resolved. Am I about to just die to show and tell? I am so incredibly suspicious here. Fuck, I am just about to die to show and tell. Oh, okay, not quite, not quite. Dreadnought is so much more palatable. I'm going to get a handful of looks at a removal spell over the next couple of turns. I think I save Thoughtseize for my next turn. I'm going to make the land drop, though. I think I try to draw a removal spell and back it up with Thoughtseize. And if that doesn't work, we are going to lean into the sauce and see what happens with Final Fortune. Here we go. I will, unfortunately, I think take 12. I'm at 7, which is effectively 5, counting the Thoughtseize. Yep. All right, removal spell, please. Removal spell. Thoughtseize you. Take the Brainstorm. Fatal Push the Dreadnought. I'll send in for 3. And we are not quite to lethal with Final Fortune yet. And definitely not too lethal with Final Fortune, considering Swords to Plowshares. Yeah. Seems good for my opponent. Theater's not very good here. I just want to draw some gas. Thoughtseize is not good. I'm getting 3 damage in here, but my opponent's double Swords to Plowshares, I think, is going to keep me just out of range of finishing this game with Final Fortune. I don't have Wastelands on this deck. That's a big boy. What if my opponent blocks the Goblin Shaman token? What if my opponent blocks the Goblin Shaman token? I guess this is a 1-1. I can attack with both still. My opponent goes to 6. 6? Do we have any believers in chat? I believe. I believe that this last card is not Swords to Plowshares. Come on. Come on. We did it. Believers get paid out. Doubters in shambles. Wish I had a second Meltdown. I'll definitely play Meltdown for Urza Saga. Fury's weird versus the Hushbringer effects. Because it can just be a free 3/3 double striker, but it won't do its removal job. Yeah, that I'm not really sure what I want. Like, blasts are okay. Furies are weird. Hieroglyphs are cool for their damage output, but again, we have the Hushbringer. Totally blanking on the name of the other one. And Doorkeeper Thrall effects to think about. I can Blood Moon for Urza Saga for another couple days, I believe. That might just be a very reasonable thing to do. I'm kind of bad versus Urza Saga without Wasteland. This is a single mana source, and it's a Lotus Petal. This is fine. I am going to keep this. I have the theoretical combo. On turn 3, I want to play a Blood Moon and just win the game if possible. But I also have some neat lines where I like play Fable, loot this, play this, attack for 7 with haste plus 2 discards. This is a really weird hand. So I'm always keeping the 3 lands and the Blood Moon. I think I'm always keeping Fable. This is something that might become uncastable. This would remain castable. This has the greatest degree of synergy with Fable. I don't know on this last card here. I think I'm going to get rid of the Thunderkin Awakener. It's something that I can play out on turn 2, but it's not actually particularly strong on turn 2, as I've discussed in the deck tech. Don't want extra land there. Oh yeah, that's great. Because that's something to play and potentially eat a counterspell or piece of interaction to make Blood Moon stick. That's a non-basic land. That's great for me. Although admittedly, my opponent is probably going to just naturally have a handful of basics. Like, I would not be surprised if they end up playing or fetching a basic this turn, just kind of accidentally. If I was sitting in their spot, I don't know that I would be thinking about Blood Moon, to be fully honest with you. All right, there's an Urza Saga coming down a turn faster than I would like. Going to just play Badlands and pass with Bowmaster available. Saga ticks up to 2. Oh, brainstorm for me, buddy. Do it. Oh, they don't have a land. I will fire off Bowmasters in response. I will ping my opponent. It will go to 18. Oh, that's great. I am going to attempt Blood Moon, though. Show me your interaction. There is Force of Will. I don't think I attack into a Doorkeeper Thrall here. There it is, dress down instead. That Force of Will means that my opponent gets a 12/12, which I don't exactly have an immediate answer to. I can maybe Death Touch it. Oh, fuck. What if I drew Meltdown? Oh. Dress down, good. Confirmed. Still no land drop. No, it's another Urza Saga. Well, that Blood Moon would have been really good. I am not technically dead. I am real close. So this is 24 incoming, counting the lifelink, that's at 24. I have 5 toughness here. I think the trample likely does me in here. I'm going to throw an extra point in front here. So I'm at 6 when all that's said and done. I need to rip a removal spell for the Dreadnought, or I'm dead. And then I also have to deal with this afterwards. I mean, that helps. I guess I will put this in play, but sometimes I'm not going to use it, depending on where exactly my life total ends up. Got the fetch. Opponent gets what is a 2/2, but will ultimately probably become a 4/4. My opponent makes their token. Goes for Lotus Petal. Is this the swords I thought they might have earlier? It is. That puts me to 11, which is no bueno. And so I get one more game here. I don't think I am changing anything here. So this is a turn 2 Fable that needs to do some serious work to fix this hand. This could just be a mulligan, because if this doesn't resolve, these 3 cards are kind of clunkers. If this resolves and I get to, like, loot something into the bin and bring it back with Thunderkin Awakener, this is pretty cool, but I think this is a wildly inconsistent hand. That's a weird one. Rummox, Imprint, Fatal Push. Rummox, Imprint, Fatal Push. Play Mountain. Thought Sees You. Turn 2, play Petal, Lightning Skelemental, take 2 more cards. I'm gonna believe. I wish I could keep the Reanimate 2. The math only works out that way if I'm willing to not keep, like, Lotus Petal and try to draw a mana source, which happens like a third of the time. Am I only winning if I run hot anyway? That might be true. Like, I just need to do this twice. Okay, let's try to run hot. I'm taking a high risk, high reward line. But damn, the reward is good. Romox. Imprint Push. Play Mountain. Thought Sees You. Stock up. My opponent's hand is really good. I can take the Torpor Orb for their most immediate play. I can also reanimate their Null Drifter. Shit. And what if that was a black land? I think I'm gonna take the Null Drifter and reanimate it. Just Annihilator 1. Yeah. Okay. And what if it was a black land, though? That would be so hot. Alright. Ancient Tomb and Torpor Orb. Oh. Wow, this turn's tough. So a lot of this comes down to, does my opponent tap out for Dress Down? Sorry, does my opponent tap out for Stock Up, or do they just play Dress Down to fog a Null Drifter Annihilator 1? And if they naturally would Dress Down, that makes the reanimation on Null Drifter more awkward. So I think I do the Skelemental first and dome my opponent for 6 while taking 2 of their cards. Ooh, wow. Dress Down and Stock Up taken. There's the island. There's my opponent's own Null Drifter. They get to draw 2. I won't off my reanimated version. Greatness at any cost. I'm going to play Ancient Tomb with the intention of sacrificing that to my opponent's Null Drifter attack. Oh no. That is not great. That is worse. Yeah. No blocks, I guess, but life's bad. I think I'm dead. We will go out in a blaze of glory. No fear. There's another Ancient Tomb to the bin, and my opponent takes 0 from this combat and then kills me on the backswing. Good game. Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com. If you want to see upcoming sets, if you want to understand commander brackets, or if you just want an awesome place to store all, and I mean all, of your deck lists, Moxfield is the place. You can organize all of your decks by folders, and you can even change the views. You like visual, they've got that. You like text, they've got that. Check out my Moxfield Pro Field if you want to see all, and I mean all, of the decks that I've been cooking up. That's a weird one. If Surveil Land hits a creature, this is fine. If Bowmaster gets killed and then comes back, this is fine. This is a pretty medium hand. The Final Fortune is very, very far away from being good. I think I'm just going to bin this one. Yeah. I believe it is correct to just keep multiple Fables here because of how value-oriented they are. Like, as much as I want to do the thing here, we've established that this is not good until much later in the game. I'm going to put it back into the deck, despite the fact that I have the combo with Lightning Skelemental here. And this is a time where you can feel not having Ancient Tomb or a Chromox in the opener. This deck is a little slow to get going. We are probably playing against a Nadu deck. Let's get our Surveil Land. And that's literally what I asked for. Now, do I play Fable or Lightning Skelemental? I think my opponent discarding 2 cards doesn't matter right now. Like, because they just go land Nadu, and then I am in trouble. I think I'm going to play a Fable this turn, but keep the Skelemental for some of its high upside. Alright, we've got Tundra. Got Nomads. I just lose now? I just lose now. Alright. Cool. We did not interact with my opponent, and they goldfished us. So, how deep do I want to go in attacking my opponent's combos? I have a lot of stuff that I can do. The stuff that takes a while to assemble is just going to be bad here because I can die on turn 2 or turn 3 very, very easily. Not you, Molten Collapse. You're fine. Get out of there. So I think I need at least 6 cards to bring in. I'm in for the things that deal with Nadu. I don't think I'm going to Null Rod here. My Chrome Mox is very good in this matchup. And then I think I am going to go the answer creatures route. I have Molten Collapses that can answer Shuko. I think my opponent is just going to be much faster and consistent than I am. This is fine. I will presumably end up Chrome Moxing one of the 2 copies of Goyf. And I'm going to not make the decision about what to do with Chrome Mox for another turn. I'm hoping to just Fatal Push a creature this turn. Not this time. Memory's Journey to Bin. I'll Surveil. That is an okay card. I think I'm just going to put that into my graveyard. I have Reanimates. So, I think since Pyrogoyf is online next turn, and the following turn, I just put Fatal Push under here. And attempt to get some value. This is getting rid of my efficient interaction, though. Hey, we still got our 2 cards. But my opponent saves 6 life in process, so that's probably worth a spell. Urza's Saga. And passing the turn. So I don't get maximum Pyrogoyf value, unfortunately. But the cool thing about Pyrogoyf is that the next Pyrogoyf will see the first Pyrogoyf, and it represents a ton of damage. Bolt you to face. 16. Saga ticks up. I can die here to both creatures being played out. There's a Halfling, and opponent passes the turn. That's yet another Goyf. Goyf combos are real. So play this one. Sword's the first one, which is unfortunate, because now I don't get double triggers. Kill the Halfling, and this is just, do I die to Shuko plus Combo Idiot? There's Shuko. There's Combo Idiot. I will sit here for a minute this time, because my opponent only has a single creatures. Swords is obviously very good. But there's a chance that I could just answer the Nadu on my turn in a meaningful way. Let's see if my opponent lets me hit them for 4. Yeah. That's unfortunate, because otherwise I would have had a removal spell for the Nadu. The fact that they hit swords off the Nadu was really rough for us. Now, presumably, my opponent is going to play more creatures, and I don't come back from this anymore. Yeah. So this now is 4 cards on my opponent's turn, and 4 cards on my turn. At this point, with Force of Will backup, I don't come back from this anymore, and I don't sit through this combo on my channel anymore. GG's. Alright, I have a medium power level opening hand here. I can Thoughtseize on turn 1 into Fable on 2, or I can just jam Fable immediately now. My deck functions so much better if I jam Fable immediately. But sometimes I die to Entomb Reanimate. I think I'm jamming. And here's to hoping that we are playing against mid-range and not Reanimator. Got the Entomb. Fuck, we're playing against combo. This is almost certainly a Storm deck. When you see the artifact mana plus this land, it's pretty clear. So the Thoughtseize is a very good play against this deck. And we'll see if I die for not Thoughtseizing. So, opponent gets to Echo. Gives me a random set of cards as well. My opponent on a fresh 7 has a pretty good chance of being able to combo off with 2 mana floating and a land drop available. There's a new gamble, so they can do it again. And they will. So, this is very, very good for me if I get a turn, because I can loot the ball lightning, reanimate it, and... Ooh, I have red under Final Fortune. That's fine. I can Thoughtseize post-combat, I guess. That'll bring Storm to 9. Excuse me. We're nearing lethal range. Oh my god, I get another turn. Holy shit. That is admittedly very, very lucky. I'm going to put this in graveyard so that I can reanimate it for the immediate damage. And then just bin a land. So let's fetch. Reanimate the ball lightning. Dome my opponent for 8. Put them to 11. See if we either take a card or get them to cast Veil of Summer, because they imprinted a green card. There's something innately cruel about that. I can't Molten Collapse, I don't have another black. So I'm just doing this. So my opponent can now make a fresh 7, and they get to use 3 mana instead of 6 mana. The Thoughtseize has backfired. Veil of Summer, sure. Here's the Echo. I have 10 damage on my turn, plus a Thoughtseize. My opponent doesn't need that high of a storm count to kill me. I am at 10 because of my Ancient Tombs and Thoughtseizes and Reanimates and whatnot. So, like, a Natural Tendrils in hand very easily kills me from here. There is now Hesitation. It's gone. All right, Dark Ritual. A Veil of Summer to draw. Yeah, that's Natural Tendrils from hand, which kills because I am at such a low life total. Ball Lightning has backfired on me. And note there that the Reanimate is the difference, right? Because I am going literally exactly to 0 here. Or I think there was still 1 on the stack, right? In which case I would be at exactly 1 if I did not lose 3 life to my Reanimate. Okay, Null Rod in, Meltdown in, Pyroblast in. We'll probably play Leyline of the Void as well. My various pieces of spot removal can go. Molten Collapse can technically answer artifact mana, but I'm bringing in other things that do that better. This is probably too fast for Sundial. I don't get to cut any creatures. I am at 14 creatures right now. That's not great. I think what I'm going to do is go down a couple of Reanimates and just play Pyroglyphs as something that can chonk my opponent pretty hard. This is fine. So this is a Leyline for the graveyard and Bowmasters for a sorted card draw. And I get a Surveil land to try to look for land drop number 3. We'll take this. Beseech Lines potentially will still just beat me easily, though. Such is life. Yeah, that's fine. We've got a land drop, and opponent passes the turn. There's a very good chance that if I cast this Thoughtseize, my opponent just responds with a Veil of Summer. I still think I am going to cast it. It is just too easy for me to die to Beseech Lines. All right, there's a Beseech. Burning Wish, obviously, quite good as well. I think I am more scared of Beseech. Beseech can randomly get some things like the enchantment that says whenever you cast a spell, you draw 2 cards. I'm blanking on the name of right now. I'm going to go ahead and take that out and pass the turn. Not that Burning Wish isn't scary, though. Burning Wish can represent some things like, what is it, Elemental Eruption, that can threaten to just make a bunch of power and kill me. There's the Tarn. Alright, the best I have is Bowmasters. Assuming I get my 3rd land drop, Skelemental into Skelemental is a lot of damage and eats away at these resources pretty well. We've got the end of turn fetch. Bosageing the Leyline. I will pick up a land. That means Lightning Skelemental is fair game for the next turn. And opponent is going to start trying to go off. Petal. What was that? Imprinting the Gamble. Opal. LED. Opponent Burning Wishes. We'll see if they crack LED in response. They do. Are we already at like a deterministic Beseech line? It is Beseech. There it is. So this is Storm 6. Or another Beseech. Or another Beseech, sacrificing the Lotus Petal. Or Tendrils. Storm count of 9. I am at 18. I've dealt 2 damage to myself with Thoughtseize. GG. We're going all in on turn 1. Here we go. Would you trust your fate to a 1-power Goyf? I wouldn't either. But I sure did do it. Oh, it doesn't matter. We're dead. I assume. When someone throws down Gemstone Mine and a bunch of Lotus Petals, like, traditionally it's pretty damn bad. Oh, this Goyf is going to be fucking huge, though. So it looks like my opponent is on a Dark Depths deck. Does my opponent block with the spawn if I attack? I guess let's find out. I don't think I use Sheoldred's Edict on it. Alright, opponent's at 16. Yes. Miss. Is pretty bad. I actually want this spawn gone so Sheoldred's Edict kills Merit Lage. I am going to put Sundial of the Infinite into play. so that my opponent can't do Merit Lage stuff on my turn safely. And that maybe incentivizes them to do things on their own turn in a way that results in that Eldrazi spawn not being there. Alright, there's Dark Depths. And it is my turn. Didn't get any creatures in there for this. That's unfortunate. I think I have to leave my mana available. Send in with a 4/5. Okay, nice. This is actually very good for me. And I'm not going to play that out. I'm going to hold up my mana. Urborg. X-Mage. They do the thing. You have a 20/20. For now, please sacrifice a creature token. Yeah. Now I have a 5/6. I think I don't play this for the extra point of damage. I think I see if I hit a better creature to play out. I could hit another Goyf, and doing that is much better than getting one additional point of damage in. A Ball Lightning. Okay. I mean, I'll take it. I'm also at 33 now. So my opponent is facing down lethal next turn. And discard does not stop that because I can just get it back. I think I can go to 32 to surveil. Oh no, my surveil end's already in graveyard. I've lied. Is it correct to go for it? Oh man, I think I fucked up. I think I'm supposed to leave the Ball Lightning in the graveyard so that I can end the turn in response to my opponent making a 20/20. Oh, that's weird. Oh, that's really, really weird. I'm going to go for lethal. Send it on in. Hope for the best. The best. Alright. Game acquired. Bad news here is that I don't really have the best sideboard cards for this matchup. I will probably play Blood Moon. Bowmasters doesn't do a ton here, but can get rid of some tokens. I potentially still want the Fatal Push type stuff. Or things like Vampire Hexmages that are just played out ahead of time. It's a little awkward. I don't think Fury is particularly great. I could just throw Pyroglyphs into the deck as a finisher. The Ball Lightning effects are very awkward versus like Vampire Hexmage that is just played out. Yeah. At that point, these get worse. I think I will bring these in, and then like, what do I do with this last slot? It doesn't really feel good. Yes, I just keep one more burn spell. This is medium. I think I can do better. Don't know if medium is good enough on the draw. This is turn 1 Blood Moon. Yeah. All right. Don't Thoughtseize me, I guess. Here's mine. Technically, that's what I asked for. Damn. Oh, opponent took Lotus Petal. What if I draw a new Lotus Petal to punish? I didn't, unfortunately. Thoughtseize you. Looks like my opponent is gonna like Veil of Summer off a Spirit Guide or something here. Oh, they were thinking about crop rotation. I see. So, opponent plays Dark Depths, plays crop rotation, goes Yavimaya. The opponent had the turn 2 with Spirit Guide and crop rotation. Wait, no. I might be taking the crop rotation here. Keep them from getting a basic land or another weird utility land. I'm going to go ahead and do this now. And hopefully I dodge discard. If I dodge discard, I get to play Blood Moon. And the Dark Depths problem is answered in the short term. Petal is the draw. That gives my opponent a one-time green source that can potentially answer a Blood Moon. There's the stage. So, I play my hate card, and my opponent's stuff are mountains. Now, if at some point they answer my Blood Moon, my opponent produces a 20/20, and that is bad. I don't have black mana for Thoughtseize. The 4th mana isn't doing me any favors right now. I think I just pass the turn here. And there's going to be some number of turns of draw go. My opponent could cast a 2/2 Spirit Guide if they want that to be their beatdown plan, but they are probably not getting 9 hits in. I don't think that's super realistic. Reanimate does not do anything right now either. And we are just playing draw go. I am fine making one land drop here. We'll keep the other to loot. Yep, more draw go. Hey, there's some looting. This is obviously very good. In addition to the obvious, the treasure token here is also black mana for these cards. Or Lotus Petal. The opponent not stuck on colors. they can go ahead and preemptively name the backside of this, and they do. We've got Petal being cracked. Yeah, okay, it is just Spirit Guide time. So I'm going to get rid of land and probably Thoughtseize here. I don't need this 2/2 all that badly. I have another 2/2 coming. I'm just going to keep something that protects me. All right, we trade. I will get some bonus mana. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. We now have 2 2/2s. And again, we're just playing Drago here, so the Sag 2/2 beatdown is hopefully good enough with a Blood Moon in play backed by Shouldered's Edict. 18. And opponent's just passing the turn again. I was very, very curious, like, what was going on when they didn't take the Blood Moon immediately with their duress effect. I guess they just thought that they had the game won if they get their turn. Obviously, that was not the case. My draws are not very good, but they are better than my opponents. Oh, is it time? Am I losing the Blood Moon? That is Force of Vigor. Oh, I should technically float the black mana there, but it doesn't matter. I don't have anything else to cast this turn. Please sacrifice a creature token of your choice. Yeah. So now the problem here is that my opponent's other cards are now on, and there's a decent chance that they can put together another 2020. I have already used my Surveil Land. With this many cards in hand, I'm just going to play out the extra land. Yeah. Just out off the top. Molten Collapse destroys. So unfortunately, that is not going to do it. I'm going to get attack in the air for 20. Destroying the Pithing Needle doesn't change anything here. Rats. Thought we were going to get that one. Okay. I have an okay power level hand here, but maybe not for this matchup. Like, I can Thoughtseize one piece of something out of my opponent's hand, but then my follow-up is Bowmasters, which isn't great. I'm going to try to fish for better here. This is worse than the previous hand. Wow. I'm going to 4 cards and keeping nothing? Okay. That's not very good for me, obviously. This is probably rip Blood Moon or Thoughtseize or lose. Rommock's terrible at this point because I have no cards to realistically imprint. I was not trying to fish for all that good of a hand. I just wanted better than Bowmasters, which I did not get. There's Urborg. Cool, you have only grown my Goyf. We probably die to a 2020. Well, my opponent probably makes a 2020 next turn. Do I even Thoughtseize them? Because like, if Dark Depths is just in hand already, the Thoughtseize does less than playing Goyf does. If it's crop rotation, this still does something. It is double Dark Depths in hand. So I am going to die unless my top card is a Shouldered's Edict. Alright, there's the Dark Depths. Do I have Shouldered's Edict on top? Negative. We have a Chrome Mox. At which point I am absolutely dead to the Dark Depths combo, since this taps for a black mana. My opponent has 1, 2, and copy. GG's. We're getting our butts kicked today. Alright. We have a pretty medium opening hand. I have a turn 2 Fable, which can loot Lightning Skelemental into the graveyard and then reanimate it for hopefully cool effect. Spirit Guide into Fable. Sure. This is pretty okay in this matchup. Looting a Chalice. I'll take 2. All right, we've got a Moon. Is this change actually live? All right, this change is actually live. Yeah, so if you look at the blue on the top there, it is retaining its abilities. That means that I can record with a different deck this afternoon then. That's fine. I think I need to play my own Fable here to loot stuff into graveyard. My opponent only has an artifact in there and is unlikely to add more things. I am just going to trade with this here so this doesn't keep making treasures that grow the Urza Saga construct tokens. That's fine with me. I'm going to do some discarding here. I think I'm getting rid of my ball lightning effects. And I think awkwardly, I need to do this here. Please sacrifice a non-token creature. Get rid of this so my opponent doesn't copy their stuff in the future. Then the Urza Saga construct tokens will be pretty good over time and potentially bury me. I've got some Meltdown stuff. Did I end up with Pithing Needles in this sideboard? No, I did not. All right. So I am interested in playing this and making copies of it. That means I am taking a lot of damage in the short term, though. I take 10, then I will gain 8-ish back. Or my opponent can hold back a bunch of stuff. Yeah, I'm not blocking here because my opponent can just make another. That's fine. I am at 6. Batter Skull. Fury's very good. That takes out Reflection of Kiki Jiki. I could trade with this. Reanimate's not great from this life total. I can't play 2 spells. I can stay alive for another turn or 2, but I don't think I beat the stream of Urza Saga Construct tokens here. So yeah, those need to get in here. And I probably just don't get to be cute here. This matchup is going to be too fast for this sort of stuff. Null Rod feels mid. I have a awkward medium power level hand here. Our deck is not going to put any wins on the board today. How good is Chalice on 1 against me? Not great. I'm just going to take a Fury. I'm going to put this out now in case my opponent decides to play Chalice on 0 instead. Alright, there is Immediate Saga. And Shadow Spear is the draw. Okay, I mean, there's some stuff going on here now. Ooh. Ball Lightning to Graveyard. This has haste. Thunderkin Awakener. Go to combat. Attack. Choose Ball Lightning. And sacrifice Ball Lightning. Now we have a lot of damage. Ball Lightning is recurable. I can potentially Lightning Skelemental on top of that as well. My opponent has a red card. They can break that up with Fury. Alright, there's the red card. And Thunderkin Awakener dies. My opponent's at 13. And we'll see if I draw another land to do something reasonable here. Otherwise, I'll just die to double Urza Saga token. Yep. I did not hit the land. That's unfortunate. So my opponent gets a construct token, a second construct token, the boots. You know there's another land drop. Ghost Vacuum is fine, but annoying. I will Fatal Push that token. Unfortunately, like a 5/5 with 2 pieces of equipment on it is very, very good. Probably beat Shadow Spear. I can reanimate a Ball Lightning for 6, or reanimate Thunderkin Awakener for potentially more than that. I guess that's what I play towards, because Fury isn't good enough. The Ghost Vacuum here just ruins us, though. Yep, I will concede there. We got our butt kicked. We put up 2 game wins over the course of 5 rounds. Alrighty. Overall thoughts on the deck list here. Obviously not good, but we knew that to start with. In game 1, round 1, things lined up as best as they possibly could, and we never lived that high again. Generally speaking, every time that I have played Lightning Skelemental in the last couple of years, the leagues have gone about like this. There was one brew many, many years ago, probably like 5 years ago, where like we were unearthing Lightning Skelementals and stuff, and that ended up working okay. But generally speaking, when you compare what other things you can be doing at 3 mana in Legacy, you know, your broadsides, your goifs, your show and tells, your stock ups, I don't think this looks super favorable in comparison to them. I think I improved the original deck list that was sent to me, but like throughout the league, I believe we never ended the turn with Sundial of the Infinite. So every time this was drawn, it was largely a dud, in the exception of the Dark Depths matchup, where it forced our opponent to do something on their turn instead of our turn. Final Fortune only did something once, so similarly, it was a bad draw. Again, Thunderkin Awakener can do some very cool stuff, but it only does so after you already have an elemental in the graveyard. And if the bar for Legacy right now is things like Entomb Reanimate and Oops All Spells and Dimir Tempo, I don't think we are anywhere close to clearing that bar. I think you end up being a much worse version of existing Goyf and Fable decks, unfortunately. So we attempted to make it work, but this was too much of an uphill battle, Alex. I would probably not spend time tuning this idea further. I think this is one of those ones where we try it out, we got it to the best that it could be in the goldfish stage, but when it comes to actual play, this just bounced off of everything. So with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and call it a day here. I hope you all enjoyed, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya!